On today's Ask the Smart Guy, we take a look at RID, Remote ID, and how this will affect small aircraft, which includes SUAS, also known as drones, and also model airplanes. So, you want to fly your drone or model aircraft in the FAA regulated and unregulated airspace. Let's first try and understand some basics. FAA is the U.S. government arm that regulates the usage of airspace that is all around us. The ownership of airspace over private property is limited to what would be considered reasonable space that is directly connected for the enjoyment by any property owner. In other words, the government deems most of the airspace above people's property as public highway. As a sidebar, if you're interested, go ahead and look up the 1946 case, U.S. versus Cosby, C-A-U-S-B-Y, U.S. versus Cosby regarding ownership of airspace, where military aircraft flew over a chicken farmer's property many times at an altitude of approximately 83 feet, which startled the farmer's chickens, which in turn caused them to injure or kill themselves by flying into walls. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of the farmer and stated that the government had taken easement over part of the landowner's airspace. So I guess you could say that there is a minimum height of flyovers at above 83 feet. Interesting case indeed. Now that we know who owns what airspace, we need to find out what FAA regulations are in place to preserve a safe airspace that is shared by manned and unmanned aircraft. Today, we are talking about remote ID in particular. In April 2021, FAA published its final ruling on remote ID and ultimately the rollout of RID usage and regulation. On September 16, 2023, this FAA rule goes into effect. Let's take a look to see what remote ID is and who needs to comply. So what is it, you ask? Remote ID, also known as RID, describes the functionality in which the location, altitude, and coordinates, along with the pilot's location while holding on to the controller, is broadcasted via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and is then able to be read by nearby Android and iOS users of certain particular apps. Who needs to comply? Simply broken down. If you have to register your drone, then you must have remote ID. To break it down even further, if you're a recreational flyer or a hobbyist, and if you have a drone that weighs 0.55 pounds or up to 55 pounds, then you'll need to register through FAA, and the website is FAA Drone Zone. The link will be listed below. And just remember, when you register, you will get one registration number, which should only cost you $5 and is valid for 3 years and will cover all the drones in your collection that you fly under recreational purposes. Now, once you get your hands on a remote ID module, make sure you go into FAA Drone Zone to associate that serial number with your recreational registration number. You will then be good to go and just attach the RID broadcast module itself onto one of your aircraft before taking off. And then once you land, you can take the RID broadcasting module off and place it onto a different aircraft or drone from your collection. On the other side, if you are a Part 107 car carrier, well then each of your drones that you will fly under Part 107 commercially will need to be registered, and each of these aircraft or drones must have its own unique remote ID broadcasting system. Now, what do you mean by RID system? Well, there are 3 FAA ways on how your aircraft or drone will be considered compliant under this remote ID ruling. The first one is under standard remote ID. So if you have a drone that was purchased and is newer on or before after September 16, 2022, the RID broadcasting system or feature should be already included in that drone. You may need to, however, update the firmware in order to activate that feature. Please make sure to go ahead and check the manufacturer's website and to see what is actually required. Quick tip: if you check out the following FAA website listed below, remember to click on the filter option and select by Remote ID, by RID, to see if your drone is indeed marked as compliant for remote ID. The second option is if you operate a drone using a remote ID broadcast module. This module is purchased separately and attaches to the body of your aircraft, which broadcasts drone identification, serial number, and location information about the drone and its takeoff location. In essence, this option is used to retrofit an older drone in order for it to have remote ID capabilities. Once again, that's only if your drone is required to be registered. 3. You can fly your drone at what's called a FRIA, FAA Recognized Identification Area. There are FAA approved site locations that have been submitted typically by a CBO, a community-based organization, like the AMA, Academy of Model Aeronautics, or like FTCO, Flight Test Community Organization. Please check with your local flying club for more details, or you can go to the following FAA site listed below to see more additional information on FRIAs or how to apply to be a designated FRIA. And no, before you ask, the application is not to be completed by an individual person that is seeking to have FAA classify their backyard as a FRIA site. The application is for CBOs to complete and apply. Be sure to check the link below for more information on FRIAs. Also, you'll find within that link additional links where you can check to find sites that have already been designated as FRIAs. Now, in the end, I'm not saying whether or not you should comply with the UAS remote module or not comply with it. That's going to be for another video. For now, know that September 16th is right around the corner, and there seems to be really no available inventory stock on these broadcast modules. Not to mention the average cost for them goes around $250, which is much more than what FAA had said they would cost when they should cost when they came out, or when they finally come out. So we're thinking possible postponement from the FAA? Maybe. Stay tuned. Unless you've gone the route of purchasing a new drone after September 16th of 22 and have verified it off the FAA list of drones that have been accepted for remote ID capability, then it'll be hard for anyone to be in compliance by 9/16 of this year. Well, that's all for now. Hope this helps clarify what remote ID, RID, is and who needs to comply with remote ID. Please like and subscribe and click that notification bell to be informed on the availability of the next video. If you have any questions, go ahead and please leave them below. If you need any more additional help, I can make another video. If you have a question, chances are others will too. And remember, every day is an adventure. Stay positive, be happy, and let's learn together along this wonderful journey. Take care.